What's up, YouTube? I'm King Shanks, and this is Droid's Finest, and I am back with Shadowrun Dragonfall, Part 89. Let us talk to Hiker. What do I have in my stash? I know I put some stuff in the stash, but I don't know what exactly. Equipment in stash. In stash. Okay. I got a bunch of level 1 medkits. That's another thing, I gotta restock up on medkits and stuff. I want to buy some magic. Possibly a new gun, new armor. Okay, confirm, whatever. Let me just get this talking done. Hopefully Iger doesn't have much to talk about. Okay. Iger offers you a shallow nod. Gurgle squirt. Do you trust me, Iger? Any thoughts about our last run? Do you trust me, Iger? She pauses for a moment, considering. Finally, she nods. Yeah, I do. You've earned that much. I haven't always agreed with your decisions, Gurgle squirt, but you've proven your competence. It's only fair for me to acknowledge it. Then tell me what happened to your team. Tell me what happened to your team. This again? Why do you even care, Gurgle Squirt? Because it's pretty clear that if you had your way, you'd still be with them, and a good leader places priority on knowing her team. Does it matter? I'm your team leader, and I'm asking you a question. I'd like you to answer it. First one. She slowly nods. All right, then I'll tell you. I suppose you deserve to know. What happened to us was Hoffman. He was a rookie, the kid of some big money corporate executive. He looked good on paper, and he made it through KSK training, so he was technically qualified to join the team, but he was way too green to fit in with ours. Still, he wanted to be a hero, and his family had enough clout to get him an assignment of his choosing. I don't know how many strings Hoffman's daddy had to pull to get him assigned to our team, but he pulled them. Hoffman became our 9th squad mate despite Mitzger's objections. Anyways, flash forward a few weeks, and we're closing in on one of the Russian mob's major trafficking operations. Okay. They've been using a series of warehouses 50 miles from the border as a staging area for their convoys. Women and girls from Eastern Europe were being housed there. When the convoys came, they'd be crammed into cargo containers and hauled across the border to Germany. Go to any brothel along the border and have a look around. Chances are you'll find at least a few girls who spent time in those warehouses. Slovakians, Hungarians, Poles, you name it. The mob has been smuggling them over for decades, but we were in a position to derail their operation, and we weren't going to let our new addition slow us down. Okay, Iger. Interesting story and all. We hit them by surprise, and we hit them hard. Fisher and Braw managed to take down the Banshee that they had patrolling on site. Wolf had reconnaissance drones overhead providing battleattack feeds the rest. Battleattack feeds to the rest of us, and we picked off their gunmen one by one. They had numbers on us. They had numbers on us, but they didn't know where to hit us. We had eyes in the sky, and we had cover and concealment. Concealment, sorry. Cover and concealment. Every time they thought they had a fix on us, we'd shift our position and hit them again. They might as well have been fighting ghosts. Then Hoffman broke cover and gave away our position, and after that, all hell broke loose. Wolf went down first. The sound of it will haunt me for the rest of my days. An explosion, a choked scream, and then this long, drawn-out gurgling sound. When he died, his bones went down with him. Oh, his drones went down with him, and there were too many hostiles to track without them. I'll spare you the gory details, Gurgle Squirt. Suffice it to say that my team was wiped out. Iger's face clouds again. You can see the tears beginning to well in her eyes. I watched Metzger die. With a visible effort, she clamps down on her emotions and calms herself. And calms herself. When she speaks again, her voice is flat. I took 3 rounds myself, had to drag myself back across the Oder Neisse line into Germany. I almost died. So that's the story. My KSK career died with the rest of my team, or the rest of the team, the team. Our mission was illegal after all, off the books. There was no going back for me, so I wound up here. She looks you in the eye, her tone impassive. Did that tell you everything you wanted to know, fearless leader? Are you satisfied now? Yes, thank you. So tell me, what's your takeaway from my tale of woe? I figure that you've got to have one. Probably. When Monica died, you blamed me because I was new to the team, but I'm not Hoffman, Iger. Okay. I'm not going to say it like that. Well, I might say it like that. It depends what my other options are. You're hung up on the past, Iger. If you want to survive in the shadows, you'll need to get over it. Well, that's just kind of rude. It doesn't matter what I think. What you think and how you act is what's important. I'll say the last one. Seems to be the best. She pauses to consider. Normally, I'd call that a cop-out answer, but I guess there's some truth to it. In any case, you don't need to worry about me, fearless leader. My baggage isn't going to hurt my job performance or anything. You might be thinking that I judged you too harshly in the beginning because of Hoffman. You'd be right on that count. I probably did, but everything else that I said after Monica died was justified, whether you want to believe it or not. Giving you command of this team was a hasty decision made for the wrong reason. I stand by that assessment. But between then and now, I've been watching you like a hawk, and you've grown, Gurgle Squirt. Thank you. You weren't the right choice to lead before. I still believe that, but you are now. Thanks. Good talk. She nods. Until next time. Now, I don't know if she'll have even more to say like Dietrich did, but I'm going to just check, and if not, then we'll go over to Glory. Oh, please unfreeze. Thank you. This isn't the best of times. Come back later. Okay, so she's done. There's my mission computer. I'll talk to that after I'm done talking to Glory, because Glory has a great story. You know, her piece of crap dad and everything like that. It's a pretty awesome story for her, man. I like it. Glory's pallid face lights up at your approach. A genuine smile spreads across her lips. Gurgle Squirt, good to see you. You too, Glory. How are things with you? Are you ready to tell me about that chrome you're sporting? Any thoughts on our last run? Just checking in. Okay, so let's just go through them all. How are things with you, biatch? Okay. She pauses for a moment, considering. You know what? I'm happy, actually. For the first time in a long time. I have you to thank for that. Oh, well, cool. Are you ready to tell me about that chrome? Be patient, Gurgle Squirt. The explanation for that is coming. A look of unease flits across her face. Flits. That's a word I haven't heard in a long time. Okay. I'm not sure that you're going to like it, though. You needed time, and I gave you time. Are you ready to talk about Ferruccio yet? Any thoughts about our last run? There isn't much to say. She pauses to study you for a moment before continuing. I think that we should have given Thorvald a chance to prove his claims. Waiting a few minutes to kill him wouldn't have harmed anything. That said, I understand why you did what you did. The job was to kill him. We knew that when we signed on. She shrugs. We're one step closer to paying Alice's fee. In the end, that's all that really matters. Oh, I don't want to push her into talking it to it. I guess I can try to push her into it. I've given you time. Let's try to push her into it. Yeah, Glory looks troubled, more so than you've ever seen her before. Whatever memory she's dredging up must be exceedingly painful. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't been looking forward to this, but yeah, it's time. Oh, here we go. Gurgle, squirt, look. I'm about to tell you some things about myself that might change your opinion of me. It's entirely possible that you're going to hate me based on what's coming up next. I've accepted that, and if that's what happens, I sincerely believe that I deserve it. She looks you in the eye. Her expression's grim. So tell me, what are you sure that you want to know? Wait. Are you sure that you want to keep pushing forward with this? This is important for you, Glory. After everything we've been through, I think that we both know that whatever you have to tell me, I'm ready to listen to. Spit it out already. This is clearly causing you pain, Glory, you know? You know what? Let's back down from the storytelling. I don't need to know anything more about your past to know how much I value. Nope, first one it is. Let's know. I need to know. You better make me hate you, Glory. Thanks, Gurgle Squirt. Thanks for being a friend. Okay. So when we left off last time, I had just moved from the streets of Tuberger to the warm, inviting confines of Frühstück. Okay. Marta and I were happy there for a while, and Haro embraced me as a long-lost daughter. I should probably take a moment to talk more about Haro. He's going to be an important figure of this story, or in this story. I don't know what his age was. He seemed old enough to be a paternal. He seemed old enough to be paternal, but young enough to hang out with the kids on something like a peer level. Best guess, I'd say he was in his mid-20s. He was a handsome, well-built, and neatly trimmed beard. Oh. He was handsome, well-built, with a neatly trimmed beard, and thick brown hair. Oh my god, I'm having trouble seeing and reading again. I started off reading pretty good, but now my eyes are all fucking blurry from staring at the screen. Okay, anyways, and thick brown hair. And there was something else about him. Something uncanny. Haro had charisma. This raw magnetic attraction that just made people latch onto him. I saw it over and over. All it took was a few words and a pat on the shoulder, and Haro would have a new coven. The other kids at the farm followed him around like lost puppies. Okay. As much as I loved Marta, and as much as I thought she loved me, we forgot all about one another when Haro was around. All that we wanted was to be close to him, to be a part of his inner circle, and soon enough we were. For a girl of 17, it was all terribly exciting. Okay. It was all terribly exciting. Haro and these rules of living that he would teach us. Rules about self-determination and the importance of disobedience. Okay. He claimed to have taught classes at the University of Berlin, which he painted as a mix between an earthly paradise and an anarchist playground. He told us how would be the focal point of a new movement for the children of the fatherland. He told us that we were special. We ate it up, of course. We were kids. Okay. Gotta finish reading this, man. For those of us in the inner sanctum, Haro would share even more. He had power the likes of which I had never seen. Not my father's drunken fists or my own childish experiments, but genuine incredible power. He said that it came from the horned god, an ancient deity that he venerated? Okay. So, the great horned beast, we're talking about Satan, right? Okay. He knew about my latent abilities right away, and he offered to teach me. Naturally, I accepted. I've heard of the horned god. His followers have poor reputation, especially among women. This Haro is beginning to sound a lot like a cult leader. Can't say I blame you. In your position, I would have done the exact same thing. Sounds like a cult leader. Yeah, sounds like a cult leader. That's what I said. You're not wrong there. But it gets a whole lot worse than that, as you'll soon see. Glory sighs. Hang with me, gurgle squirt. Rough waters ahead. So I became Haro's apprentice. He taught me to channel magic and summon spirits. He taught me rituals and pagan traditions, Machiavellian philosophy, and Nietzschean ethics? Okay, whatever. Above all, he taught me to connect with his horned god. I thought... Wait. And though it... What? No, and through it, I learned the power of arrogance. Okay. And it was downhill from there. For the next few years, I lived at Friedrichshain as Haro's enforcer and right-hand girl. I was also his sometimes wife and concubine. But this was a distinction that I shared with all of the girls in the commune, including my beloved Marta. Okay, so they were all his wife. Yeah, he's definitely a cult leader. Okay. I came to learn that she'd been his long before... What? Okay, yeah, she was his long before she met me, but by that point I didn't care. I'd embraced the rules of living. I was Haro's creature through and through, okay? I didn't ask questions. I walked the path that was in front of me. Other fun facts about those years. I learned cruelty. I had power now. And my new idol encouraged me to use it. Haro did the same. Any children who didn't pull their weight were subjected to my tender mercies. Okay. And I was anything but tender. I took what I wanted rather than asking for it. I liked it. It was fun. Oh, come on, so much. I also came to learn Haro's horned god was not the even first worshipped by throwback cults across Germany. It was certainly a god with horns, but it came from an altogether different tradition. Care to hazard a guess? I want to hear you say it. The devil, educate me. The devil? In the magically active community, we refer to it as the adversary, but yeah, same being more or less. Okay. So my idol and the ancient deity that was feeding me my power was the what? I thought it was supposed to say Antichrist, but I'm not sure what that says. Antithesis? Okay. Of everything that is right and good, and you know what? I didn't care. In our time together, Haro and I committed more atrocities than I could count. At this point, I was onto all of his tricks. I knew that Frühstür was nothing more than a honey trap carefully designed to lure local children into my master's clutches. I knew that the kids who seemed resistant to Haro's brainwashing techniques wound up fertilizing the garden. Okay. I knew that Haro's entire manifesto was bullshit, and I knew that through it all, Haro and the adversary were laughing, because I was laughing right there beside them. I didn't want to pin the blame for my decisions on anyone but me. That said, I would like to post it. Yeah, that's what it says. Okay, anyways, that my father's connection to the Cruist creators might have helped play into my willingness to serve the adversary. In my warped indoctrinated little brain, I equated the church with evil. So the opposite of that, I figured I had to be, well, if not good, then at least not totally bad. I was kidding myself, of course. My new deity was the very definition of bad. Serving it made me bad. End of story. Oh god, this is going to be a lot of reading. This is going to be a long episode. Okay. I can't excuse the choices you've made, but I can understand why you made them. Go ahead, make your excuse. Make your excuses. We all make our own choices in life, and when you choose to hurt innocent kids, my sympathy for you went right out the window. I disagree with you, Glory. I don't think any of this was your fault. Haro is the one who deserves the blame. I'll blame it on Haro just because I want to not blame it on her. I don't know. And what if he was indoctrinated into the service of the adversary when he was my age? Would he not be at fault anymore either? She shakes her head. No, Gurgle Squirt. Haro certainly deserves some of the blame for what I became, maybe even most of it, but personal responsibility has to come into the equation somewhere. I made my own choices, and they were horrible ones. I've accepted that. You should too. Okay, I accept it. Let's hear how you fucking lost your arms already. Glory pauses for a moment to collect herself. She looks haggard, and her pale cheeks are flushed blood red. She swallows hard and then presses forward. Yeah, I bet she does swallow hard. Anyway, one day Haro invited me on a field trip to Stuttgart. Over the years that I was at Frühstür, the commune had easily doubled in size. It was thriving, all thanks to the efforts of Marta and the girls like her. Yeah. Hara would send the girls out to neighboring cities to lure in the street kids, and nobody would miss, sorry. He targeted children because they were easily to indoctrinate. Why don't they just say brainwash? God. And because nothing makes the adversary happier than the corruption of the innocent. As we drove out to pick up new recruits, I was already planning ahead. It was a foregone conclusion that I would pay my father a visit. The irony of a group of cruiseriggers getting emulated by a genuine servant of the actual devil tickled me to no end. So when Haro stopped to fill up on diesel, I hopped out of the van and headed out on foot to my parents' place. Haro wasn't overly concerned about my absence. I had long since reached the point where I could assert my autonomy, and he knew that I'd be back. I wound up at my folks' house sometime around noon. I could hear the adversary whispering in my ear, telling me what to do. I had long since learned to listen to its voice. It always rewarded me with extra power when I did its bidding. It told me to knock, so I did. As the door opened, I could feel a torrent of flames welling up in the astral plane around me. It told me to channel them into a doorway into my father, so I did. Okay. But of course, the person who opened the door wasn't my father, it was my mother. As I watched her flesh blacken and melt, I heard her scream, and I broke into hysterics. I heard the adversary laugh. At that moment, I realized that it was laughing at me. Tragic but predictable, saw that coming. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Glory nods, a grim expression on her delicate face. Well, thanks. We're almost at the end now. Thanks for sticking with me. It was like a lever had been pulled all at once. The bubble popped. I wasn't a powerful servant of the adversary. I was not Haro's number one girl. I was a ridiculous little fool who'd willingly tied her soul to the worst thing in existence. Realizing all of this was one thing. Actually fixing it was something else entirely. I knew I had to get away from Haro. That was the first thing to do. So I bit my lip and did my best to ignore the happy babble of the new recruits. On the trip back to Friedrichsruhe, I managed to get through the ride without screaming. Once we were back at the commune, I broke into Haro's safe, stole all of the commune's resources, and ran. I don't know when Haro realized what I'd done, or whether he even cared. All that I know is that nobody came after me, so I kept running and running until I got to Berlin. Getting past the wall was fairly simple. You know how easy it is to obtain falsified papers. The biggest obstacle that I faced during my flight was the adversary itself. I could run from Haro, but how do you run from something that's tied to your own soul? I have a feeling that I know. Let me guess. Snip, snip. Oh, God, Glory. I have a feeling that I know. The haunted look in Glory's eyes is heartbreaking. She gives you another... I don't know what that says, but it says it looks like cunt grim nod. Or Kurt grim nod. I don't know. Whatever. I walked into the office of the First Street dock I could find, pointed at all of the biggest, bulkiest pieces of cyberware that he had on the display, and I told him to put them into me. He tried to upsell me on better merchandise, arguing that what I was asking for was old and insufficient, better suited to be installed in a museum than in a body. He told me that I'd be shredding my essence, and that once it was gone, I'd never be able to get it back. I stuck to my guns. After all, shredding my essence was the whole point. Glory looks up at you, her eyes sunken and hollow, and the aura of loss about her is palpable. Okay. She looks like a woman who has been through hell. That's all for now, Gurgle Squirt. You've heard the tale. You know why I am the way I am. You know the things that I've done, and how much I have to atone for. If you still want my company, fine. If I've lost your friendship, I understand that too. But for now, I need to be alone. Okay, so I can finally end this episode, which ended up being way longer than I wanted it to. But at least I got most of the talking done. In the next episode, I'm going to talk to the mission computer, the DVD, and Amzil. Hopefully I can get all of them done, but I don't know. It's going to be quite a bit of reading. I'm assuming that Amzil's going to have a lot to say. The DVD is probably going to have a lot to say. And yeah. Still have 3 more episodes to do tonight. Oh, come on. Bring up the save screen. Holy shit. So there you go. Glory was a Satanist that killed children. Told you she was my kind of woman. She just had that look to her. I could just tell she was my kind of woman. Anyways, let me just save this so I can get to the next episode. And saved? Say it? Okay. Alright, so I'm going to be right back. Stay tuned and I'll see you soon. Peace!